One of the questions I get from students all the time is, what are the biggest mistakes that you've seen grads make in your time as a professor at Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and now Bocconi in Milan, where I'm a full professor? It's tricky to answer because sometimes students think, well, these are just very individual mistakes. But in my time as a professor, I've seen a series of all too common pitfalls that students fall into. These are landmines that you need to watch out for. And what's interesting about these mistakes I'm going to share with you in this video is that these are mistakes that tend not to be the ones that cripple and debilitate weak students. These are the ones that affect the hardworking action taker students, sometimes some of the most bright ones. So I'm going to share with you these 3 mistakes in these videos so that you don't fall into these traps. And let me dive straight in. The very first mistake that's just all too common, that is a plague for some of the most talented students, is thinking that you can do it on your own. And it's so easy to succumb to this trap. You see all these great scientists, great leaders out there, and they seem to just effortlessly glide from one success to another. You hear about Elon Musk or Albert Einstein, or you see that top grad student in your class who just got another paper published during his PhD. And that's because we present a myth. We present these great people as though it were easy, but we don't ever look behind the scenes to see all the hard work and support that they got along the way. The reality is, grad school is an apprenticeship-based system. You need to learn from somebody who's at the top in the field, who is going to pass the baton on to you, so that it's going to be your turn to become a leader in the field, to take up the helm at the next generation of researchers in your space. There is this myth that you've got to be buried with the books in a medieval tower somewhere. That might have been in the dark ages, but we're far from that now. Thinking that you can do it alone is really something that very bright students want to do, and they think is the right way to go, but it's really far from the truth. The students I've found who really thrive and succeed, they get the right support and guidance. They have not just one, but multiple mentors. This leads me to mistake number 2. And this is a very big mistake that, again, it's one that even applied to me along the way quite a bit. And this is this idea that it has to be perfect. And I'm very detailed. I dot the I's, I cross the T's. I'm very meticulous about research that I do. What you'll see in your experience of research, you'll know that as you keep working on a paper or a project or an experiment, you can keep improving it, a process that never ends. And that's great to have this commitment to continuous steady growth and improvement. But the reality is you're going to hit diminishing returns. That curve of the gain for the effort you're putting in, it improves, and then starts to flatten out at a certain point. And you don't want to invest all your precious time, which is really limited commodity in grad school. You're under a lot of pressure to try to get ahead. You have a lot of competition if you really do want to try to go down the distance and go down an academic path. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, many students do this. I mean, I hope you haven't done this with crypto, by the way, I digress, but you need to diversify your investments. That means try to get not just one, but multiple papers out as a graduate student to get on that proverbial fast track. To do this, you're going to have to accept perfect is the enemy of the good. I'll say it again. Perfect is the enemy of the good. It just needs to be good enough to achieve what your goal is right now. You're going to know what that bar is for you, and that's again where those trusted mentors can help you to feel confident, to give you that support, guidance, and direction to say that this is good enough. You have cleared the bar. Students I work with, I often think with their PhD chapters of this idea of getting them over the finish line. And that's all you need. You just need, for most students, vast majority, you just need to finish and then turn to publishing and take it in those steps precisely. And you need that guidance and help to get there. The third biggest mistake, and this is a bit linked to the first one, mistake number 3. And mistake number 3 is one you don't often think about, but it's one that I've seen a lot of students falling into inadvertently. And that mistake is not having a community, not having a real group of scholars in whom you can bounce off ideas, share, turn to for comfort if you're in a dark place. In that sense, a community is sometimes, with the academics like myself, we talk about it as having a cohort. There's a cohort effect in grad school where you train and you learn with a group of students who go ahead, and those build lasting relationships that help you later. These are, for my PhD cohort, there are now many who are planted in the field, who are well established themselves, and we work on papers together. They are the reviewers of my grants, the reviewers of my papers. That cohort really matters. And during my PhD, I co-authored papers with several of them. We helped each other share tips. We were all at the front of our field pushing limits. What I see too often in a lot of universities is toxic cultures where students don't want to share information. They want to keep things close to their chest. They're scared they're going to get scooped. The other thing that's really happened during the time of COVID is students have really been feeling isolated and even starting to withdraw and falling into that first mistake of just thinking they can do it all on their own. By the way, shameless self-advertising. That is exactly why I created the Fast Track Grad mentorship and support community. 100% free on Facebook. You're going to find a lot of live trainings on writing, reading, publishing for the first time. You're going to get a ton of value out of this. I created it for my students at a time of COVID where many of them were feeling isolated without a community. Would love to have you come join, check it out. Link is posted here. Again, 100% free. We can be in touch in the direct messages. So guys, I hope this has helped you. 3 big mistakes. If you don't have this sense of community, join us in Fast Track, but make sure you do invest in those relationships with other scholars in your field. If you are slipping into this track of perfection, the haunting sound of Frozen, let it go, just starts echoing in my head. Just let it go. Perfect is for later. Your perfect today is going to be different from your perfect months, years from now. Perfect is a moving target. Just stay on the path of continuous steady growth. Your perfect will improve, and for now, hit good enough. And finally, don't fall into this trap of thinking you can do it all on your own. No cliche, no person is an island is really true, especially so in graduate school. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I will look forward to seeing you in the next.